So good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us here today. If you are online, we welcome you, and if you're then listening to this recording from the comfort of your school or your home, welcome, and we hope that you'll find this session informative and something that you may choose to pursue, or definitely share the news also with your colleagues and with friends. So let me just run quickly through the agenda and tell you a little bit about who we are. And I'm just going to share my screen here now and the PowerPoint. So welcome, and just a moment, hopefully it's going to come up now. And my name is Lenka Forrest. I'm the head of student recruitment here at UCC, and annually we hold a session for guidance counselor, our little conference, usually in October. And this year our conference had a lot of topics around trauma-informed education, and we had speakers who have gone through trauma themselves, for example, and how they dealt with it. And that conversation led us to highlighting a few of the offerings that our adult continuing education at UCC offers. So we wanted to run this session to discuss these two courses and the whole kind of work of adult continued education at UCC and bring it to your attention. And a little bit about the housekeeping. So there's a Q&A function at the top of your screen, so you can put in some questions that you have. And then there is a transcript running as well as a recording, so we'll be sharing that with you. Our first, the two courses that we'll be talking about will be building work-based resilience in self and others with Pat O'Leary, and then Deirdre O'Byrne will talk a little bit about certificate and CPD, trauma-informed practice in education. But first, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to introduce Dr. Lindsay El Amoud, who heads up our ACE section here. And she will tell you a little bit about the work that we do here, and then she'll pass the button over to Pat. So thank you, Lindsay.
Thanks, Lenka, and thanks to everyone for joining us and for those who are listening back to the recording. So I'm delighted to be able to present our department to you, which is ACE, stands for Adult Continuing Education here at UCC. And really, I suppose we are the hub for part-time and flexible education in the university. So just if we look at last year, we've got programs running from level 6 just after leaving cert right up to master's level and everything in between. The vast majority of our programs now are delivered in a blended or an online format because we realise that our student body, which are typically adults, working professionals like yourselves, are very time poor. So we understand the pressures that people face in trying to learn and work. So most of our programs, as I said, are offered in a blended or an online format. We have awards ranging from courses that are delivered over 8 weeks right up to 2 or 3 years part-time. So depending on how much time you have available for professional development, we probably have something that will meet your needs. Last year, we had over 2,500 students registered with us, 72% on credit-bearing programs and 28% of those on non-credit-bearing programs. We work very closely with industry across our region, and we develop bespoke courses for industry. We run a wide range of short courses, and this is something that might be of interest to some of your friends or family. We have courses starting in the new year across a wide range of topics: creative writing, beekeeping, wine tasting, you name it, we've got courses there. And then we also do a lot of work in the community particularly with marginalised groups. We have an enormous global reach in ACE. We have students from 35 countries around the world registered with us, from most counties in Ireland, and we also have almost 30 sanctuary scholars registered with us. And we do a huge amount of work with organisations right throughout the country, from both the business and industry side and the community side. And some of my colleagues will be here, as Lenka said, to talk specifically about 2 programs that we have. But we have a very wide range of programs, almost 70 accredited programs in our offerings that are delivered on a part-time flexible basis that may be of interest to you, your family, your friends, or your colleagues. So I'd really encourage you to try and have a look at our website and see what we can offer. So without further ado, I'll hand you back to Lenka and over to my colleagues to speak more about our trauma-informed care programmes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. And Pat, hopefully the Teams windows will open for you and we'll see your slides.
Yes, thank you, Lenka, and thank you, Lindsay, and grateful for the opportunity just to speak to you all. As Lindsay said, whether it's live or listening back to this on a recording, I'm happy just to present briefly one of the programs that we have, which is called Building Workplace Resilience in Self and Others. So this program actually came out of a request from, lots of different employment sectors looking for skills and upskilling in the area of building resilience. Lots of people feeling the difficulty and challenge that came out of COVID, and I guess a real focus in terms of the importance of self-care, and then also being able to reach out into the workplace in terms of colleagues and setting up structures as well that support us in relation to self-care. So VUCA is often described as a way of capturing the challenges that we experience in society today, whether they're geopolitical or just personal stresses that we feel from day to day. There's volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. And in most workplaces, there's a real requirement to be agile and flexible and adaptable. And this creates a lot of wear and tear and difficulty and challenge and stress for so many individuals. And this
and Pat,
program in many...
Did you wanted to share
Yes.
the slides again? Sorry, it just went off. So just in case you wanted to use the slides. Yeah, no problem.
I beg your pardon, Linka.
That's
I thought those slides were being shared there. My apologies.
I know you're only on the first slide, so we definitely don't want to.
Yeah,
it's coming up.
Is that showing?
So, and if you put it
that...
in the okay, now it's gone again. So you might just have to put it in the presenter mode if you press F5 or whatever. Just let's have a look.
Yeah, I'll just leave it at that mode there. Is that okay?
It's fine, absolutely.
Yeah, great. Okay, thanks, Linka, for that. Yeah, so this is a kind of a framework that describes, I guess, a lot of the challenges that we experience. And, it does describe the kind of expectations around being able to adapt to the challenges that society present to us in different ways. So through the program, we explore these challenges. We explore the anecdotal evidence of people and their lived experience around the challenges and stresses that are experienced. But we also look at the research in this area and recent research that was done along with MTU and UCC and other research bodies in relation to the Healthy Workplace Ireland, and seeing some of the statistics that are emerging from the workplace based on research from last year around presenteeism, absenteeism, mental stress that people are experiencing, and also that sense of responsibility that lots of workplaces actually feel now in terms of supporting their employees through difficulties and challenge. So I guess what we're seeing in society in a general sense is a real strong sense of, people responding to challenges and difficulties and kind of caught up in a cycle of going from that red cycle into a blue cycle of noticing threat and responding to threat, noticing challenges and responding to challenges. And there's a real requirement for us as individuals to find that kind of space where we also care for ourselves and reach out in terms of caring for others. So the program looks at this whole area of seeking resilience within ourselves and how we can develop that sense of resilience and self-care. So in relation to career guidance, and a number of career guidance counsellors and guidance counsellors have done this program in the past. And I guess their feedback and experience of having been on the program was very much directed around the value of care of self and self-regulation. So that was the first point that really comes through in terms of why to do this program and the potential value that it brings. How I care for myself, how I regulate myself in relation to difficult situations or stressful situations. And the program supports individuals through the use of positive psychology, through the use of mindfulness, how we can care for ourselves and how we can self-regulate. And the second kind of key point that the program offers is how we can care for others. And in our own self-regulation, we can co-regulate and be the first responder sometimes in relation to difficult situations that might arise in the workplace. So how we respond to challenging situations and how we respond to challenging conversations and maybe hold ourselves and ground ourselves in those kind of challenging environments. The program really reaches out to support participants in relation to developing those skills. So some brief points in relation to the program. The cost of the program is €995. There are a number of limited places on the course which will be funded by the HCI Pillar 3 funding scheme. So we can give you more information around that, but effectively it halves the cost of the program if you're interested in joining. It begins on February the 8th and finishes on April 3rd. So there's a total of 1 Saturday workshop and 6 Thursday evenings. Classes delivered fully online, but it's a live presentation. And so, you can do that from the comfort of your own home, wherever you're logging in from. There are no exams in the module, but there is a 2,000 word assignment and also a 1,500 word reflective log. But we'll support you in relation to that. A lot of the emphasis is your own reflective engagement with the module and developing an area of interest that you would like to examine for yourself in the context of the material that's covered. The content of the program, we look at stress, mental health challenges in the workplace, personal self-care, ways of embedding self-care in the workplace through coaching, first responder skills when people come to us with difficulty and challenge, holding those conversations, coaching psychology, positive psychology, mindfulness, reflective practice, and well-being development. And obviously there is the reason to celebrate completing a program like that. So there is a full UCC and UI parchment as well on completion of the program. Also an interesting addition to it, this is a 10 credit module, and that 10 credit module is also in the postgraduate diploma we have in personal and management coaching. So that's a head start on that program if you wanted to develop your own interest in the area of coaching and resilience a little bit more. And by having this module completed, you would receive a fee reduction and an exemption from that module should you choose to continue to deepen your study. That's how you can apply for the program. That's the link that's contained there. And my contact details are there. I'll put a link in the chat in relation to my email address and my name and number if you wish to contact me or wish to receive any other further information around the program. I'd be happy to help you in that way. So thank you very much for your attention in relation to this program.
Thank you, Pat. That's great. And we'll also send an email to all schools again and the recording of this webinar and include your details. And just for people listening to know, I'm going to put you on the spot, Megan. So Megan is actually currently completing this course herself. So as the student, would you have a couple of points maybe to make, especially how you manage your workload and what actually the course has given you so far?
Sure. I didn't expect this now, Lenka, so thank you. But it has been very flexible learning for starters. I do have a very hands-on job, so it was actually, I find myself looking forward to the evening sessions every Wednesday and just setting that 2-3 hours aside just to go through the program content. It was very doable and very achievable. And if you haven't done assignments in a while, those word counts do sound a bit scary when Pat puts them up on the screen, but one is a reflective log, so if you journal as you go, it's very doable. And the second one is based on a topic that you yourself are interested in the course, so you can really bring in all your own learning, and they are very doable. The course content itself was phenomenal, I have to say. I was introduced to a lot of new concepts that I wouldn't have been familiar with before, and I have held roles in volunteer organisations, working with children and that sort of thing, and also working with peers and colleagues in high stress environments. And I have found myself using those tools on a fairly regular basis, and they have had quite an impact on my day-to-day relations with people, especially people who are in I suppose, states of discomfort or who are experiencing mental health challenges, and just about how I speak to them, how I interact with them, and the tools I use when speaking with them. So it really, really was beneficial. And as part of my assignment, I'm actually writing why this course should be rolled out across multiple industries because it's so important. But it's definitely a really incredible course. If you can do it, I would definitely advise that you do.
Well, thank you. That's really great to know. And I know of another colleague here in UCC who works with us in the student recruitment space who has completed it last year and again found a lot of the tips and the concepts are really useful then to apply in everyday life. So thank you, Pat. And we are going to pass the button over to Deirdre O'Byrne to tell us a little bit more about her offering, Ted.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me along to this session, and hopefully I can give you some information that will be useful to you as practitioners in the field of education provision. I'm just going to share some slides here. If you bear with me just a moment.
Perfect,
Okay,
thank
so
you.
can you see those? Yeah?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. So the program is a certificate in CPD, trauma-informed practice education. And of course, it's very useful for those who wish to invest their time into, professional development. So the program is designed for those who work with children and young people in early years education in national schools and secondary schools. So the full ambit there in terms of education provision. It introduces participants to both an understanding and the implementation of trauma-informed practice in an educational context, but also in specific educational roles. So, people working in these areas, it could be a principal, a vice principal, or a teacher. But generally speaking, we're talking about people who are working at the coalface of educational provision for children. So as part of the programme, you will be supported in developing a toolkit of resources that support educators to implement appropriate approaches in an educational setting. So in that sense, it's very, while there's a lot of theory there, it's also very practical in that sense. So as a participant and someone who practices in the field of education, you'll be encouraged to develop critical thinking perspectives at the cutting edge of trauma-informed practice as it pertains to education provision. You will have the opportunity to explore current debates and discourse in the area. You will also learn of potential impacts of vicarious trauma on the educator himself or herself. So vicarious trauma is an occupational challenge for people working with victims of trauma. And it very much, this program, as I was listening to Pat, it very much resonates with self-care as you work in this particular area. So then, why would you do this course, or what is it that you will learn that will inform your practice as an educator? Well, first and foremost, you will learn to articulate and understand the principles that underpin trauma-informed practice in education across all school settings. You will learn to recognize and explain the pervasive nature of trauma impact on child development domains. It will help you to reflect critically on the design and implementation of trauma-informed practice for learners across school settings. And of course, that will give you insights into the development of policies within your school as well as they pertain to this particular area. You will learn to recognize the role of trauma-informed practice in mediating vicarious trauma in education. And it's very important, that self-care is also very important for people who involve themselves in working with children or young adults in the area of trauma. And the programme will also help you to reflect upon and articulate collaborative practices in educational contexts that support trauma-informed practice. And finally, it will help you to critically evaluate trauma-informed practices in a variety of education settings. So, you know, as teachers and educators, the role isn't always very homogenous. So there are different aspects to your work, and in that sense, the program will span all those various areas. So then, just some practicalities around the provision of the program. It comprises of one module. It's a 15 credit ECTS module, fully accredited by UCC, and it's pitched at level 9 of the National Framework of Qualifications. It commences in February 2025. It's 12 weeks in duration. So you will spend 2 hours in class per week, Thursday evenings, 6:30 to 8:30. And it will be delivered in a hybrid mode. So you will have 6 weeks online and 6 weeks in a classroom at UCC. No exams are attached to this program. It's a continuous assessment. There are 2 assessments. The first one is a 3,000 to 4,000 word report or essay, but it'll be a written assignment. And the second one is a 1,000 word reflection. So the cost of this program is €1,125. So, you know, I'd be happy to take questions later on with this, but you will get more information on our website. My email is there, my contact details are there, and I'd be happy to chat to anybody who has any inquiries or they need further information. So thank you for listening and giving me your time. So I'm going to hand you back to Lenka now. I'll just stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Deirdre. I'm not sure if Mark or Deirdre or Irene, if you have any specific questions. As I mentioned, we'll share the recording and the slides with you and the contacts. And you know, it is something that we have discussed also with the guidance counselors organization to see in terms of funding, or how actually provision for teachers in terms of funding is done. I haven't found any specific details, so if any of you on the call are maybe more familiar with it, how we can make it more accessible or make others aware of maybe what routes to obtaining funding through the schooling system are there, then let me know, because that would be really helpful for us to kind of help us to spread the word. Just to kind of finish this call, unless if you have any questions, absolutely raise your hand on it, or put it into Q&A, or drop us an email. There's no problem. I just wanted to really thank you all in the school settings, the principals, the guidance counselors, all the teachers for working with us, supporting us here at UCC, and helping us to support you students to, you know, to choose the right course for them. And as you can see, we have also the offerings for, you know, professionals and teachers within this setting. So it's the whole kind of environment of collaboration, awareness, and how we can help each other to be professionally upskilled at all times, not only what we provide for your students. So it is definitely something that all of us need to keep in mind, and there are good skills to learn for any kind of a role, but especially in the education setting. Resilience, trauma-informed practices, it's so helpful to all of us. And I just wanted to thank you for your support. If you have any questions about UCC or what events are upcoming in our space, if you Google UCC and events, we have created a web page for prospective students, but sometimes we put also sessions there that are pertinent to parents, guidance counselors, or teachers. So again, even Lindsay, for your team, if you're ever running something that you feel may be of interest to this cohort, we can add it there as well. And then we have a CAO live Q&A online on the 15th of January. And then on Thursday, the 13th of March, we'll actually do an open evening in UCC. It won't be a full-blown open day, but we'll kind of a mini open day, open evening. And yeah, we're looking forward to our continued collaboration with you. So for now, have a lovely Christmas and a new year if you're listening to the recording still on the side of 2024. Otherwise, we wish you all the best in 2025, and hopefully we'll see some of you here in one of these two courses or other things that we are offering here at UCC. And we look forward to crossing our paths with you again in the next few weeks, months, and years. So I guess with that, we'll say goodbye and we'll see you next year. Thank you, everybody. Thanks. All the best.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.